Hi guys, it's Missy and welcome back to Books and a Baby. So today's video is the 8 classics that I'd like to read in the year 2021. So let's get started. So I have read a few classics since being out of high school. I read a few in high school, of course, but I think having to read certain things made them not quite as enjoyable for me. And I have gone back and read a couple of them that I read in high school, and I did like them more as an adult. Also, I think when I was in high school, I didn't really understand everything that was going on in some of those books. So I am trying to be a more well-rounded reader. So these are the 8 classics that I'd like to read this year, 2021. So the first one is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. And this, I'm just going to read you the synopsis from Goodreads. This is something else that I'm working on this year, is to try to be better at my synopsis for when I'm telling you about a book. But for right now, I'm just going to read you the Goodreads synopsis. So, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. It says, this is a story of a woman's struggle for independence. Helen Graham has returned to Wildfell Hall in flight from a disastrous marriage. Exiled to the desolate moorland mansion, she adopts an assumed name and earns her living as a painter, which sounds really interesting. I find the Bronte sisters really interesting, and I also find Jane Eyre quite interesting. So you will notice a trend of who is on this list. Also, I have like a Kindle copy of all of Jane Austen's novels, as well as all of the Bronte sisters novels. So just be aware of that. The next one I want to read is Beloved by Toni Morrison. Okay, so this says, Toni Morrison's Beloved is a spellbinding and dazzling innovative portrait of a woman haunted by the past. I think Sethi was born a slave and escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later she is still not free. She is born the unthinkable and not gone mad, yet she is still held captive by memories of sweet home, the beautiful farm where so many hideous things happened. Meanwhile, Sethi's house has long been troubled by the angry, destructive ghost of her baby, who died nameless and whose tombstone is engraved with a single word, beloved. Sethi's work at beating back the past. Sethi works at beating back the past, but it makes itself heard and felt incessantly in her memories and in the lives of those around her. When a mysterious teenage girl arrives, calling herself beloved, Sethi's terrible secret explodes into the present. Combining the visionary power of legend with the unassailable truth of history, Morrison's unforgettable novel is one of the great and enduring works of American literature. So I'm really excited about that one. Then we have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This one says, the more I know of the world, the more I am convinced that I shall never see a man whom I can really love. I require so much. Marianne Dashwood wears her heart on her sleeve. When she falls in love with the dashing but unsuitable John Willoughby, she ignores her sister Eleanor's warning that her impulsive behavior leaves her open to gossip and innuendo. Meanwhile, Eleanor, always sensitive to social conventions, is struggling to conceal her own romantic disappointment, even from those closest to her. Though their parallel experiences of love and its threatened loss, the sisters learn that sense must mix with sensibility. They are to find personal happiness in a society where status and money govern the rules of love. Which sounds really interesting. I'm pretty sure there's a movie with Kate Winslet and the actress who plays Professor Trelawney in the Harry Potter movies. But I'm pretty sure that Sense and Sensibility, the movie adaptation, which I have seen part of, I think, but anyways, that one sounds interesting. We have Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. This says, set in industrializing England of the Napoleonic Wars and looted revolts of 1811 through 12, Shirley is a story of two contrasting heroines. One is the shy Caroline Helston, who is trapped in the oppressive atmosphere of a Yorkshire rectory and whose bare life symbolizes the plight of a single woman in the 19th century. The other is the vivacious Shirley Keebler, who inherits a local estate and whose wealth liberates her from convention, a work that combines social commentary and the more private preoccupations of Jane Eyre. Shirley demonstrates the full range of Bronte's literary talent. So, I really enjoy the way that these women wrote about women in their time, and I find it interesting. So then we have next The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I read The Little Princess a few years ago and thought it was amazing, so I'm really excited to read this one. So it says, one of the most delightful and enduring classics of children's literature, The Secret Garden has remained a firm favorite with children the world over ever since it made its first appearance. Initially published as a serial story in 1910 in the American Magazine, it was brought out in a novel form in 1911. It says the plot centers around Mary Lennox, a young English girl who returns to England from India, having suffered the immense trauma of losing both her parents in a cholera epidemic. However, her memories of her parents are not pleasant, as they were a selfish However, her memories of her parents are not pleasant, as they were a selfish, neglectful, and pleasure-seeking couple. Mary is given to the care of her uncle Archibald Craven, whom she has never met. She travels to his home, Misselthwaite Manor, located in gloomy Yorkshire, a vast change from the sunny and warm climate she is used to. When she arrives, she is rude, stubborn, and given to stormy temper tantrums. However, the nature undergoes a gradual transformation when she learns of the tragedies that have befallen her strict and disciplinary uncle, whom she earlier feared and despised. Once, when he's away from home, Mary discovers a charming walled garden, which is always kept locked. The mystery deepens when she hears sounds of sobbing from somewhere within her uncle's vast mansion. The kindly servants ignore her queries to pretend they haven't heard, spiking Mary's curiosity. The Secret Garden appeals to both young and old alike. It has wonderful elements of mystery, spirituality, charming character, and authentic rendering of childhood emotion and experience. Common sense, truth, and kindness, compassion and belief in the essential goodness of human beings lie at the heart of this unforgettable story. So, that's another one. I think Frances Hodgson Burnett is one of my favorite, like, children's classics authors. So, then we have, I don't know exactly how to say this properly, so I'm going to say Villette by Charlotte Bronte. And let's see. So it says, Lucy Snow flees England in a tragic past to become an instructor in a French boarding school in the town of Villette. There, she unexpectedly confronts her feelings of love and longing as she witnesses the fitful romance between Dr. John, a handsome young Englishman, and Geneva Fanshawe, a beautiful coquette. The first pain brings others, and with them comes the heartache Lucy has tried so long to escape. Yet in spite of adversity and disappointment, Lucy Snow survives to recount the unstinting vision of a turbulent life's journey, a journey that is one of the most insightful fictional studies of a woman's consciousness in English literature, which sounds very interesting to me. Then we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is one that I did try to read quite a few years ago, and like I really couldn't get into it. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get into it better now, especially now that I've found audiobooks and found that I love listening to classics on audiobook. So this one says, Lockwood, the new tenant of Thrushcross Grange, situated on the bleak Yorkshire moor, is forced to seek shelter one night at Wuthering Heights, the home of his landlord. There he discovers the history of the tempestuous events that took place years before, of the intense relationship between the gypsy foundling Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw, and how Catherine, forced to choose between passionate, tortured Heathcliff and gentle, well-bred Edgar Linton, surrendered to the expectations of her class. As Heathcliff's bitterness and vengeance at his betrayal is visited upon the next generation, their innocent heirs must struggle to escape the legacy of the past. Now, this is one that I know, I think it was Murphy, said you can't go into this book thinking that it's a love story because it's not. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as well, but I know that Heathcliff is like one of the most loved classical literature characters, so I am excited to see what I feel about this process. So then we have Persuasion by Jane Austen. This one says, 27-year-old Anne Elliot is Austen's most adult heroine. 8 years before the story proper begins, she is happily betrothed to a naval officer, Frederick Wentworth, but she precipitously breaks off the engagement when persuaded by her friend Lady Russell that such a match is unworthy. The breakup produces in Anne a deep and long-lasting regret. When later Wentworth returns from sea a rich and successful captain, he finds Anne's family on the brink of financial ruin and his own sister a tenant in Kellynch Hall, the Elliots' estate. All the tension of the novel revolves around one question. Will Anne and Wentworth be reunited in their love? That synopsis right there like sells it for me. So those are the 8 classics that I hope to get read this year. If you have any classics that you're trying to read this year, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can see when I post new videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.